everyone, I'm Nancy, So Cozy Stitching. I'm also known as So Cozy, sorry. This is like the 5th time I've tried this. So I've been doing these videos for a few years and I've taken a few breaks in between some of them. But every time I start a video, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't get it right. So I am not starting this over. Anyway, you can follow me on Instagram at So Cozy Stitching. I've had quite a few new people starting to follow me. I do want to say something about that. I keep my account private on Instagram, and not because there's anything that needs to be private. You know, the only thing I use Instagram for is to show my cross stitch and my quilting. And so my Facebook account is where I share like personal information. And so, but the reason I keep it private is it kind of eliminates the creepy men that, I don't know, that I guess they like cross stitchers and quilters. I don't know. And so it keeps them from just following me, if that makes sense. And so I can actually just delete them. When they request to follow me, I can just delete them. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, if you have a private account where I can't see if you do quilting or cross stitch, just send me a message on Instagram and let me know that you watch my videos and that you want to follow me, and then I will accept you, because sometimes even people I think that may be cross stitchers, they don't list anybody that I follow on Instagram. There's no, so I can't check it that way. And then if their account's private, then I obviously can't check what they stitch and quilt. So anyway, like I said, please just request, or send me a message, and then I will accept you. Okay, so today I have a lot to share. I have some fully finished things that I have done. I have a finish. I have the whips that I have been working on since my last video. And I have some quilting stuff to show you, some quilts and what I've been working on. And I have a quilt along I want to announce. So let's get started. All right, so in my last video, I showed you a sewing model that I had made using an old cross stitch that I had finished years and years ago and had just been sitting in a drawer. Well, I decided to go through that same drawer and find something else that I could finish because, I stitched those things. They may or may not be my taste anymore. More likely they're not, and that's why they're sitting in there. But I thought I need to do something with them. I stitched them, I need to do something with them. So anyway, I went back through my drawer again. And I found something that was, again, stitched in 2006. And I've pulled this out a few times to try to decide how to finish it. And I kept thinking, I don't want it in a frame, but I didn't know what else to do. And the other day I pulled it out and I thought, oh, I know exactly what to do with it. So I'm going to show you what I did. I made a drum. Now this chart is called 5 Roosters by Lottie Da. And I did Google it. I just typed in 5 Roosters by Lottie Da, and it did come up. I think it came up on the website Everything Cross Stitch, I believe. Anyway, so like I said, I stitched this in 2006. Now, this is something that would still fit into my style because I love chickens. Absolutely love chickens. So anyway, but it was really bright. So the tail, and then this up here, I used overdyed floss, and I think it's the called for overdyed floss. I stitched this in 2006. I know it's overdyed because I can see the variegation in it. I know the roosters themselves are not, but but I'm pretty sure I used the called for because I think at the point that I stitched this, I wanted that. I wanted the called for. Anyway, so but it was really bright, very, very bright. So I took some of that antiquing spray that I had told you about, what I used on my last piece I finished, and I sprayed it, and it really grunged it up. I just love this. And then what I did is I just pulled some fabric from my fabric stash, and I pulled red that would match the red in the border and the red there. And I used it for the top and the bottom. And then it needed something on top. So I had some of this seam binding ribbon, and it really matches the tails. And I didn't even tie a bow. I just kind of looped it to make a bow, and then just took some floss and just tied it in the middle. And then I just set it on top, and I found these sewing pins, you know, because I'm a quilter, so I use lots of pins, and I just found those in my pins and stuck them in there. I did, after I used my machine to sew the seam on here, but then I went back with the same colors of floss as I used here, and I just made the X's. And they're not perfect or even, but it doesn't matter. And then once I got it all put together, it just needed something else. And so I found this trim from my scrapbooking days, and I actually just used Aleene's glue and glued that trim on. I didn't even sew it on. So I used Vanna's tutorial to do this, and I'm telling you what, perfect tutorial. Now, I did make some mistakes, not because of her tutorial, it's because of my own mistakes, but now I know for next time, you know, to make it better. One thing I did is, I mean, it could be a little bit firmer. It is pretty firm because I stuffed and stuffed and stuffed the stuffing in here till it was poking out of the top. I had to, you know, shove it down in there, and following her tutorial how to attach this onto the drum so you can sew it on. So it is pretty firm, but as I got to the part of stuffing it, because what I was doing is I would watch her video. I would watch one step of the video, pause it, and I would do that step. And then I would start it again, watch the next step, pause it, and do that step. Well, when I got to the point of stuffing this, my son called me. So I paused the video. But while I was talking to him, I just kept stuffing it, and he was wanting to talk about a lot of things that day. So I finished stuffing it till I thought it was as full as it should be, and then I sewed, you know, I sewed the top on and everything. And when I got off the phone with him, I finished watching the video. And I didn't use chopsticks to squish it all down in there, and I didn't use the walnut, crushed walnut shells like she said, because I was talking to my son and couldn't watch the video. So yeah, I missed those steps, but it still turned out really good. Let me just show it one more time. I love it. So yeah, 5 Roosters by Lottie Da, and the chart is still available on everything cross stitch if you go onto their website. So, and it's not expensive. It's very, very, very reasonable. All right, so I'm just going to set this right here. All right, so I pulled out something else from my box. I have not fully finished this, but I wanted to show it to you because it matches the drum. This was also stitched back in 2006. I used the same colors for the rooster's tail and, you know, his comb up here. So I'm kind of thinking, I don't know what this is called. I don't know if it's called cock-a-doodle-doo. I think it is la-di-da, but I'm not sure. The reason I think it's la-di-da is because I did stitch it at the same time. I used the same colors, and back then I did not switch up colors. So that's why, you know, in the drum and in this one, I think these were the called for colors because I didn't switch up colors back then. And the tail and the comb up here, they have the same style as the drum. So that's why I think this is la-di-da. But when I typed in cock-a-doodle-doo, la-di-da, nothing came up. So I don't know if, and I mean nothing came up, like no pictures, no nothing. So I don't know what the name of this is for sure. And this one's also bright, so I took the antiquing spray and sprayed it. These were both of these pieces were stitched on 14 count oatmeal Aida. So, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. I think I might just see if I can find a frame. And I've put the drum in my hutch, and I may just put this in a frame and then just kind of prop it up against the back of my hutch by the drum. So I don't know. We'll see. But I just wanted to show you that because I had pulled that one out also. All right. The next thing I fully finished was Berry Keeper by With Thy Needle and Thread. I don't have the chart out. But I was still working on this on my last video, and I did finally finish it. And so I was, okay, so my original plan to finish this, I stitched this on 18 count vintage country mocha. And I wanted to finish it in an oval hoop. And then on the hoop where, you know, the little screw thing is, I was going to have it on the side, and I was going to attach some ribbon and the strawberry onto it. Well, when I got it all done, it was too big for the hoop. So, but I think because she used 30, the model was stitched on 36 count, but I think it was over 1. And so that's why, and I didn't do it over 1, obviously, because I used Aida, but I went out into my frames and I had some oval hoops. And I pulled out this hoop. It's just a thrift store frame. It's not a hoop, it's a frame. It was this thrift store frame that I had bought a long time ago. And I think it was brown, I don't know. And I just spray painted it kind of just a off-white color. And yeah, I love it. Just added, this is some seam binding tape. I thought it kind of looked plain right there. And so I, again, just like I did on my drum, just looped up some and made loops. I didn't actually tie it into a bow. And then I just tied it in the center so that it would make the bow shaped. And then added this little strawberry charm that I had bought. And then I just actually glued this just glued it right there on the frame. I didn't glue it to my stitch piece. And my stitch piece, I laced it on, or no, I didn't lace it, I pinned it. I was trying to lace it, and it ended up being easier to pin it onto a piece of foam core that I just used. This had glass in it, and I just used the glass to trace on the foam core. So I finished it, and then this is the back. I just used some scrapbooking paper for the back. My daughter's like, why are you putting scrapbooking paper on the back? No one's going to see it. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if I pull it off the wall, I want something pretty on the back. So if I look at it. So, and I think I just used all DMC for it. So there we go. Love it. All right, the next thing. This is, okay, so that was all my fully finishes. Now, this, I was working on this. I said in my last video that I wanted to finish this in the month of April. I started this on February 1st as a family holiday start. And I started for my grandson's birthday. And there we go. It's fully finished. It's not been ironed yet because I just, we went on a little road trip this past weekend, and I excuse me, I took this with me, and I was able to finish it on my road trip, and I just pulled it out of the bag, so it needs to be ironed. I used all of the called for DMC floss. Someone said I don't hold my stuff up long enough, that they would like me to hold it up longer, so I will do that. In the picture on the chart, she put her initials here. She stitched her initials there. But there's not an alphabet chart included with it, so I don't know. I may go back and maybe put my initials here and maybe put 2021 here. I don't know. I may just leave it. I think this was bigger than I thought it was going to turn out to be. So I have a square frame that might fit it. So I may just frame it. But we'll see. Right, so that's my fully finish. All right, now let's get on to my whips. So for my morning stitch, I have been working on this. These are the Little House Nail Works. This one is March and April. And these are the charts where if you buy, there's the charts in the floss pack. So technically you buy the floss pack and you get enough floss to do both charts that they send along with it. And so this is where I'm at. Using all of the called for DMC. So far, the only thing I changed is the raindrops were supposed to be stitched in the white, and I don't even know the names of the colors. If you're interested, I can give you the list of the colors. And they're used in both charts. So if you're interested, just let me know in the comments, and I will list it. But anyway, the raindrops were supposed to be in the white, and I changed them to the blue. And then the yellow in it is really, it goes from like a melon color to a light yellow. And so for the sun, I pulled out and just did more of the yellow, which it's not showing up too great on there. But in real life, you can see it. It's pretty good. So there's this inner border that needs to be finished. And then there's an outer border that needs to be done. And then this will be done. All right. And then the next thing I've been working on since my last video is my farms at Hawkwood Hollow. And I wanted to get this block completed by the end of March, and I did. I finished it on the last day of March. And then in April, I want to get this one finished, and then I think this will be put up for a couple of months. Because then I will only have 4 more blocks to do. So I think I'll get this one done, and then it'll be put up so I can work on some other stuff. So let me start with that block first. This is a big piece. Because I chose to do it on 14 count vintage country mocha. And 2 reasons. 1, I was not stitching on 18 count at the time. And 2, I have a place in my kitchen that I want my husband to build something. I want him to build a frame with a shelf on it. And this will go in that frame. So there is the block. I did change it a little bit. I changed the color in the water. I'm using the called for DMC, and the called for DMC was a gray color, and the picture shows that the water's gray, and I wanted it to be more blue, so I changed that. These are all in the same color family. I just changed them up a little bit you know, the little butterflies or moths, whatever they are. And then the pig I changed because he was supposed to be black and I didn't want him black. And then the outline of on the barn of the door and the windows was supposed to be a yellow color, and I did it brown, and then I filled in the windows with yellow. So those were my changes. And just to show you, I don't know, I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing in. So there's the whole thing. All right, and the last, oh, okay, so those were my whips. And now since the last video, I had 2 starts. The first start I had was for Easter, and I started A Savior's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. I love this chart. I've loved it since it came out, and I haven't decided if I'm going to keep the same verse or if I'm going to come up with something different. I do know the initials I'm going to put in. So I started this Easter Sunday. I worked on it most of the afternoon and into the evening on Easter. And then I pulled it out because I thought maybe on Sundays I would pull it out and work on it, at least for a while. So I've had two days to work on. 2 days I've worked on it. I'm using all of the called for DMC. Except for, I did change out the red. The called for, I can't remember what the called for was, but it was more of a maroon color, and I wanted more of a red. So I think I'm using 816, 817, I can't remember. So that was my Easter start. And then on April 5th was my grandson's birthday, and so I got a family holiday start, and I chose to start Spring Farmhouse by Not Forgotten Farms, and I am using all of the called for DMC floss. And this is just one night of stitching. Oh, I cannot remember what fabric A Savior's Praise is on. I will mention in my next video of what fabric I'm using. This one is 14 Count Legacy by Picture This Plus. And this is just one night of stitching that I started. So, and I had to make sure I got a couple of the letters in, because when I pulled it back out, I didn't want to stitch it upside down. So there we go. All right. And that is my stitching. So I'm going to end the first video here and go into and make a part 2. My part 2 is going to be all about quilting and my announcement for my Quilt Along. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.